When you hike in the mountains, your brain gets free from routine tasks and you start thinking big. And of course, it doesn't happen the first day when you actually climb the stupid mountains. But then it gets better. The views are more and more beautiful. And if you're lucky, as we are, and you travel with two cool friends, then it gets even more interesting. And if one of them has something to do with engineering, you have your lightning talk topic. So Dima is a scientist. He's a gerontologist. It means that he knows everything about aging and he fights it. And as a result, he's keen on genetic engineering, and apparently I'm keen on software engineering. And last time we were talking about this phenomena that a parent cell DNA equals a daughter cell's DNA. And probably you can remember it from school that when your cells divide, the DNA is just inherited. Just like when you need to have a copy of installation, you request it from test cow, and then everything always goes right. There is no chance for human error. There is no chance that you get some upgrades, new setups. Yeah, everything goes super smooth. Of course it doesn't, as we all know, and that's how we are learning, and that's how we're making our infrastructure better. And it's difficult to believe, but human body is even a more complex system than SimCorp dimension. And it's also not that easy here. And the stuff that we learned at school is unfortunately fake. Yeah, that's one of the situations. And what is actually good that our organism has lots of mutations, and these changes are kind of the resources that help us to adapt and actually succeed as species. They're kind of A/B testing. Yeah, so if you have a well-implemented feature, and that's what the market actually needs, and the same happens to our mutations. If they're successful, they bring the species to success. If they're not successful, then we have some not features but bugs maybe on production, and it means that it's not, at least not contributes to our success. So let me go a little bit more into details. So we have stem cells. We inherit them. That's what we are born with. That's our resources. That's what our children inherit. And what's important is that is extremely stable cell set, and it's of highest importance. Their potential defines how long and how good we live. When our organs are formed, the stem cells, they are broken into somatic stems. So there is something like everyday integration. So they have somatic mutations, and they serve as resource, still comparatively stable, can be restored, but they're the resource for our daily cell division. Yeah, the least stable ones, we have most of changes here. And if they are good, or if at least our species survives afterwards, they can also be inherited by our children. So like your nutrition habits, for example, if you prefer hamburgers overnight, unfortunately, our children will do most likely. As you could guess from all my spoiler alerts metaphors, I was leading to the deployment pipeline, yeah, because that looks pretty similar, right? Super stable production, staging where we integrate code, features where we experiment. Some of them go to new version, some of them are not that good, and as hamburgers go with good features, but still that's the case. And what is even more interesting is that when we get to our organs and we analyze them a little bit more, we'll find that each of them has their own functionality set. And yes, it's integrated. That yes, they're interconnected. But for example, if our kidneys hurt, liver functions as before. And this should remind you on microservice architecture, the one we're going through. Yeah, when we isolate the changes that we're having that are independent into microservices, they're easier to debug. It's easier to do A/B testing with them as well. They're safer to experiment, and UX designers love them because it opens some kind of independence and gives more space for experiments. So, you know, guys, it's not that easy to compare the phenomena in genetic and software engineering. Everything is not that smooth. At least we do have the control. We have the influence on the resources that we have. Yeah, our production is determined on how much money we get and on the decisions that you're making, right? Unfortunately, that's not that easy with our body. Yeah, our stem cell, our original DNA, we are stuck with what we are born with, guys. But the good news are that we have the gerontologists that are working on it. Our genes DevOps, and they say about 70 years, by the way. And they are working as hard as our teams, as you guys are working on our way to success, to have a perfect infrastructure and to deliver a perfect product. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Julia.